Let's look at an application for a one-dimensional array. And in this example, I want to use the dictionary of four-letter words that you've seen in previous videos. So in order for this program to work, then you need to get the file, which you can refer to the notes for this video for the location. You can download the file. And in my case, I'm running Windows, so I'm going to put it in the C:\data folder. So you can put it wherever you need to on your computer. We have the usual beginning stuff. We have the pound includes, and we have to open up a file for input. So I'm going to call my file pointer, in this case, I'm going to call that dictionary. Then I already have the code here for opening and testing to see if the file opened correctly. So we've got the open statement and then the if statement to make sure that it worked. And if it did, then we'll print out that the dictionary file was opened. What I want to do with this, though, is I want to read all of the data from the dictionary, and I want to keep it in my program in an array. So I need to declare an array for that. So I'm going to paste a line of code here, which I'm going to use to declare the array. Now, I am assuming that I don't know how many words there really are. So I'm just making an estimate that there are 4,100 words. So it's a little bit bigger than it needs to be for this. But each word is a string. So the type of this one-dimensional array is a string. And I'm calling it word. And I'm allocating 4,100 slots. Okay, so this is a one-dimensional array of strings that can contain up to 4,100 words. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through the dictionary, I want to read in the words, and I want to store those words into the array word. Now, we just need a while loop to read through, and we just need an assignment statement, or actually we'll just read in each word directly into the array. So here is the code for that. So I'll paste that in. And we just have a very simple while loop. The while loop is the same as you've seen before. While we have not reached the end of file for the dictionary, then we'll stay in the loop. Dictionary is the file pointer, so we just use the insertion operator for reading. We read it directly into the array, and our index k is incremented by 1 each time. So this stores the words into word array index 0 and so on all the way up to the ending word. Okay, so the variable k was declared up here already, so that's k is declared and set to 0. So that does it. That didn't take very much at all. So once we finish, then I'm going to print out how many words there were in the dictionary by printing out the variable k. Then we'll do a little application after that. But let's insert our system pause here and just make sure that this part of our program works. So I'll put the system pause there. Now let's compile and run the program. I'll bring over the output, and you can tell there's not much here. We did open the file successfully, so we got that message printed to the screen. And we printed out there are 4,030 words in the dictionary, which I know to be true, so that's correct as well. So our program has opened up the data file, and it has read in all of the data, and it has stored all of those 4,000 plus words into this array. Now, the advantage of this is that now we can use this array of words over and over again. So it's not necessary to reset the file to the beginning, go back and read through it over and over again. If you get all the data into your program, then you don't need to go back to the file. When we're finished with the file, we can go ahead and close it, and we are finished at this point, so I can just do the dictionary file pointer dot close with empty parentheses, and that closes the file and we're all done with it. Now, let's do the little application. Let's look for all the words that start with a given letter. So we are going to enter the first letter for a word, so that message will go to the screen. Then we just have a cin statement to read in the letter. So letter is defined as a character up here. Now, let's put the code in here that we need. We don't need to read the file anymore. We just need to read through the array of words that we just created. I want to use a for loop because it's just so dang easy to use. So we will have K starting with 0, and it goes up to 4,029. Okay, so there's actually, we had the 4,030 words, so the last index is 4,029, and then just K++. So here's the skeleton of the for loop. What we need to do is to read a word, and we need to see if the first letter of that word is the same as the letter we typed in here. So we just need to have an if statement for that. So here's an if statement. Let's put that in. And now we have an easy test. We are going to go through the array word, and we start with index 0, so starting at the very first one, and we're going to look at the first letter. Okay, so we can use the @0 statement for that method that we learned back when we were talking about processing strings. So if word sub k, whatever that word is, if the first letter of the word is equal to the letter that we typed in up here, then we will just print that out to the screen. Okay. Now we do need to be careful here. The letter needs to be in lowercase, so I've not ensured that, but all of the words in the dictionary are lowercase. But you get the idea. We can go through the array, and if we find a word that starts with that letter, we'll print it out to the screen, and we're printing one at a time, so we'll probably come back and modify this a little bit. But that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and compile and run the program. Now the program's running. So here we are. So with the first system pause, we come to here. So we have just loaded up the dictionary, and we've printed out how many words there are. So when I hit enter, now we're prompted to type in the first letter of any word. So I'm just going to type in a letter. I'll choose letter B. It's lowercase. Then hit enter. And now we print out all the words that begin with the letter B. So it doesn't print out any of the other words. We just go through the array of all the words, all 4,000, and when our if statement is true, we just print out all the words that begin with the letter B. Now these are one word per line, so I want to go ahead and print out multiple words per line so we can see all of them on the screen at once, perhaps. So I'm going to modify the program for that. So let's add an if statement in here. This will print 10 words per line. So I've modified the cout statement because now I'm printing multiple words per line, so I need a space between them. So I'll do a set width of 5, and then I'll print out the word. Then I'm just going to use my counter, the k+1, modulus 10, so I don't print out an end line except if I've printed out multiples of 10 each time. So that will print out 10 per line. Now let's compile and run the program one more time. So now we have the output. I'll hit enter. We'll type in any letter. Let's try B again. And now, well, they don't quite all fit. Okay, yeah, I guess they do. If I make the window just a bit larger, then we can see all the words that begin with the letter B printed out. So that's pretty neat then. We can input whatever letter we want, and we can print out all of the words that begin with that letter. All right, now let's just try one more letter before we stop this example. So I'm going to close this, and I'm just going to run the program again, and we'll put in a different letter. Now let's look at the output. We'll bring this over, and now let's try the letter Q. I'm sure there aren't many words that begin with the letter Q. And when I hit enter, then here's what we get. So this time we go through our array of words, and we just find the ones that begin with the letter Q and print those to the screen. This example, you can convert this pretty easily to a spell checker. So instead of typing in a letter and printing out all the words that begin with that letter, you could also enter a word. You could type in a word, and then you could look through your dictionary, all 430 of those words. You could look through and see if you find it. And if you do, that means the word is spelled correctly. So we can make a fairly simple spell check program here with, of course, only 4-letter words if we wanted to. That would be easy to do. We could even do that immediately here in this part of the program without having to reset anything. Because, as I've said, all of the data now is stored in the word array, so it's not necessary to go back and deal with the file at all. So this little example shows you how you can use the array of 4-letter words in an application. And I think we'll quit with that.